Okay, welcome back. We were talking about printing from inside Microsoft Office, particularly Microsoft Word. I will tell you one cautionary tale. When you install a computer, and particularly at home, you have a thing called a default printer, which means when you ask it to print and you have multiple printers to print from, it'll go to the one you think is the default. Well, for some reason, at my home, I'll get like a software update from Microsoft, and it'll change the default printer. And so I'm fat, dumb, and happy, and I just click the print button, and then expecting it to go to my HP inkjet, and then look down here, and I go, "Oh man, I'm printing to the wrong thing. I'm printing to OneNote, which is not actually a physical printer; it's a piece of software." Okay, so just kind of remember that. So again, this is pretty cool. Let's go back to saving. So if I hit the save button, it's going to assume that I want to store this in my documents library, which is a pretty good place to be. Now, if I had a thumb drive or something I would plug into my machine, I want to navigate from this view to find a place to put it that might suit me better. So one of the things I'm going to do is, first of all, remember how we can grab this guy and move him around? Okay, cool. One of the things else you can do, instead of just dragging it around, I can resize it. Now this guy does not have the minimize and maximize buttons. Remember we showed these up here like that? But I can grab it on the edge. Now see if I hover the mouse button right here, I get this little double-headed arrow, and down here I get a double-headed arrow, and down here I get a diagonal one. So I'm going to grab this and just stretch it out a little bit so I can see a little bit more. Okay, so by default, it actually picks a title for your document based upon the content. So if this was, a letter to mom, then it would say letter to mom there. Now in this case, it looked at the document and said, well, the first couple of words are Mary had a little lamb. But I'm going to change that. So I'm just going to, it's already highlighted because they figured, hey, this might not be correct. So I can just type. I don't have to do anything else. I can just type, poem. Okay? Now, I don't have to put the file extension in there. I can if I want to, but I don't have to. And then I'll just hit the save button, and presto changeo, my document is saved. Cool. Now, where is it? Well, let's go find out. I'm just going to minimize this guy, and I'll bring up the Windows Explorer, and I go to My Documents, and there's my document. Yay! So now, if I want to launch Word without opening it first, I could just double click on this guy, and I've already got it open. That's kind of dumb. Well, what the heck, let's go ahead and close it. So I'm going to go ahead and close this guy, and so closing it, and if I had made changes to the document, it would have said, whoa, would you like to save the changes before you close? Almost always the answer is yes. So now I want to launch Microsoft Office Word one more time. I could go down here and drill and click on this guy. That's one way of doing it. And then I got a blank page, and now I have to open a file. So I'm going to go here to this guy, File, and now do Open. So File, Open, and it's going to point back where I was. I scroll to it, and I click this guy, and wham, yay, I'm back. That's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it, which is the way most people do it, is you just double-click on the icon. You double-click on the Word document. And what happens is the operating system says it infers the action. So it says, this is a Word document, and you double-click on it. I wonder what you want me to do. Well, the default is to open it with Microsoft Word. So I just double-click this guy, and boink, and it's the same thing. That's the same thing as me launching Word, drilling down to File, Open, finding the guy, clicking on it, hitting Open. It accomplishes all the same thing. Cool? All right. Let's do a file save as, because I wanted to show you the difference between the two. If I wish to just go back to this guy and type the next line. Okay, if I was just to do save right now, what that would do is I would save it back to the original document. Okay, I only have one document. It's called Poem, which is probably exactly what you wanted. But what if you wanted to now save this as something else? I wanted to leave the original one alone and create a second one that had both lines. So that would be a file save as. So file save as basically allows me to keep the original one and have a new version. So I'm just going to call this one new poem. Okay? So now I hit save, and now I've got two versions out there. You want to see? You want to see? Let's go out here. So there is poem and there's new poem. Cool? Alright. So that's how save as works. Okay. Now let's say that's not exactly where I wanted to put it. I wanted to put it on some other place. I want to put it on a thumb drive, or perhaps I want to keep a folder for my poems. So let's do this one more time. I'm going to do a file, save as, and bring this guy up. Let's say I want to create a new folder right here in this thing called poems. Well, way up here at the top there's a thing called new folder. Pretty straightforward. I click on it and it creates me a new folder, and it's ready for me to type. You can see because it's highlighted in blue, and I type poems. Okay, cool. So now I have a folder called poems. If I was to save it now, where would it go? Well, it's not going to go to the new folder we created. Now that I've created the new folder, I have to navigate to the new folder. Okay, so I've created it, and I just double click on this guy, and now I am at that location. And you can see over here where I'm at. My documents, poems. Now there's nothing in there. It's a new directory, right? A new folder I just created. Of course there's nothing in it. And now if I was to hit save, now I've successfully put that in a folder called poems. Cool? Alright, let's make this more complicated. Let's say that I have a USB flash drive I want to store this on, which is a typical scenario when you're at the university. You go to the university and you're sitting in one of the computer classrooms, or you're down in the computer lab, and you've got your little USB flash drive, and you're doing your work on there, and you want to take that home so you can continue working on it. Okay, so same thing. So if I was to just do file save, I'm not going to be prompted for where to put it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to hit save. It didn't prompt me at all. So that's not going to work. So I want to do the file save as, because that definitely will prompt me. Okay, so file save as always prompts you. Okay, cool. Now I'm just going to navigate using this little window here and scroll down to find where my thumb drive is. So let's say that this is my thumb drive, and so I would click on that. So my thumb drive, I drill down to where my files are stored in my thumb drive, and then I hit new save here. And so now I have saved it to my thumb drive. Okay, sounds cool? Let's continue. Okay, so we've created a new folder. I think that's pretty straightforward. We've done some folder navigation, up, down, we poked around. We talked about expanding and collapsing this little folder list when I do a file save as. Sometimes you have to click on the little diamond to get things to go, you can just kind of navigate and keep moving and keep moving and keep moving by clicking on the little diamonds. You can do all the navigation over here, or you could just click here and then just do all your navigation on the right hand side. So diamonds on the left hand side, and just clicking on icons on the right hand side. So expanding and collapsing those guys. We talked about the taskbar. So I can tell that I actually have a version of Word up and running right this very second. Okay? And when I hover over that, it tells me what the current document is. Cool? Alright, we're going to make this more complicated. I am going to leave this thing up and running, and I'm going to go to my documents, and I'm going to have the original one. So now I have two Word documents up simultaneously. Okay? Now, you can kind of see right now that this looks like these things are stacked. When I hover, I get to see that I have two documents, one called poem and one called new poem. One happens to be stored in the My Documents, and the other one is stored inside that poem folder inside My Documents, remember? And so I can just switch back and forth between these guys. It's simple as just clicking on the taskbar, picking which version of Word I'm running. Now, the two versions of Word are not related in any way. In other words, if I make a change here, it doesn't make a change in the other one. They're completely unrelated. Okay? So this is kind of a cool way to see what's running and what documents are up. So if you have multiple documents and you're copying back and forth, this is kind of the way you get it done. Okay, let's kind of sort of continue here. So I kind of sort of mentioned that if you want to exit, I'm going to go ahead and make a change to this. Okay, and so I typed some new stuff, and so I'm just going to hit the big red X over here in the corner. And it's going to come back and say, dude, are you sure? I mean, you've made some changes here. Do you want me to save those changes, or you want me to just disregard those changes? Now, immediately, sometimes I use this. I'll be in the middle of a document, and I'll get it so messed up. And I'll go, oh, geez, I just want to start over. You know, screw this. I spent 5 minutes on this document, and I've thoroughly messed it up. Let me just start over from scratch. And so I hit the little red X, and I come here and I say, no, I do not want to save. So save means, yes, commit those changes. Don't means just get out of Word, but don't make any changes. And cancel means, oh, no, I didn't mean to hit the red X. Okay, which is what I'm going to do here. I'm going to say, all right. So in the old system, you went File and Exit. Okay, that works just as well. It's the same thing. File and Exit is the same thing as hitting the little red X. Cool? Okay. Let's continue. Okay. Let's minimize this for just a minute, and let's talk about an alternate way of getting around inside Windows 7. Let's say, for example, I don't have an icon on my desktop for Word, and I know it had something to do with Poem, and I want to find that guy. Well, one of the things you can do is you can just type right here. I can type Poem, okay? And it's going to show me all sorts of things that match that. So if I kind of sort of remember that it was Grandma's secret recipe for chocolate chip cookies, that was the name of the document, I could just type in recipe or chocolate chip cookies or something like that. And so I don't really have to care. Now, there are two of these guys, remember? One of them was in my documents and one of them was in the folder underneath there. So which one is which? Man, that's kind of tough. But this is an alternate way of getting to a document. A lot of people use this because they don't want to take the time to organize their files. They just say, screw it, I'll just dump it all in one bucket. And whenever I want to find something, I'll just use a little search routine and it'll find it for me and I don't have to care where it is. So this will allow you to be messy if you're a messy person. Okay, let's continue. Let's talk about I'm going to go back to Microsoft Word. And it doesn't really matter which one. And let's say I want to start over from scratch. I want to create a new document. Okay, I'm done with this one and I just want to start over. So remember, we used to have a thing called File New, and it was way up here at the top. Now, File New is down here. Okay? Now, when I hit File New, instead of just having, okay, here, I'll just grant you a blank page, what it's going to do is it's going to provide me a list of available templates. Now, these are templates that are already installed on your machine, and by the way, yours might be slightly different than this. And there's a gazillion more templates that you can get off the internet. Okay, so as an example, let's say, I don't know, business card. That'd be kind of cool one to do. A calendar. I use this a lot. I click on it, and all it's going to do is going to create me something that looks like a calendar. It's not, a real calendar, but oh man. I guess I need, okay. It shows you how old this piece of software is. This is a good place to stop for the 15-minute mark. Let's pick this thing up again in just a few.